What has triggered me to embark on this video about that object of eternal quest, the legendary Holy Grail, was a TV show claiming that the Grail had been found. Having in my own life been inspired to hunt for the Holy Grail, I was intrigued by this and followed up with some research. My own methods of hunting the mysterious stem from my Celtic inheritance. There is a saying from the old country, "What is it the hunter hunts?" After hundreds of thousands of years as hunter-gatherers, we have finally tuned the art of hunting to the extent of being able to hunt out anything that we desire. An ancient technique for this is the mind trick of becoming that which you hunt. That is, within the mind, seeing yourself as the object of the hunt. One can do this through dance, costume, or even mental affirmation, such as the affirmation, "I am a stag of 17s, which is a line from the poem of Amergin the Druid. There are many ways to become that which you, the hunter, hunts. I have practiced this technique myself, and as my focus lies in the spiritual, I have found myself manifesting the great spiritual mysteries by becoming them. God, the Messiah, the Holy Grail, the Spear of Destiny, even the devil. All these great mysteries of the spiritual dimension I have hunted out gnosis and knowledge of by becoming them. In this day and age, few remember these Celtic traditions, especially in the new country, but my practice was affirmed to me during a pilgrimage to the Celtic heartland of Avalon. There I found a living, mystical culture where I was understood and joined by others. In the town of Glastonbury I stayed for about 6 months, and during the stay there was something of a mystical moot in the town hall where we were squatting. This impromptu artist community had several studios as well as living spaces. In the painting studio I took part in a meditation for inspiration and had a vision of a particular glyph, as shown here. From this glyph, which I realized to be a Holy Grail archetype, I manifested a certain prayer. I am the Holy Grail.
I am the Holy Grail.
Here is a demonstration of what I mean. So correspondingly, with the Celtic heartland in tune to the hunt for the Holy Grail, as it has been since even before the mythical age of Arthur, I put out the intent to discover the Holy Grail on my spiritual path. However, that was not the first encounter I had had with the Grail mythos. My Celtic knot tattoo on my heart that I had channeled from the goddess Bridget takes the form of a chalice, which I was well aware of by the time I arrived in Glastonbury. This tattoo, inspired by vision, has influenced my spiritual path from many angles, not only as the Holy Grail, but also the Spear of Destiny. The two sacred objects are in fact correlated in Christian myth, as well as the older Celtic mythology. In the Christian version, the Spear of Destiny is used by a Roman to pierce the side of Christ while on the cross, from which wound Christ's blood was collected in the vessel he had used for communion at the Last Supper, the Holy Grail. In the older mythology of the Kells, the tribe of the gods, known as the Tuatha Dé Danann, possessed 4 sacred objects related to the power of destiny. One of these was a spear, the spear of Lu, the sun god. Another was the cauldron of the Dagda, the good god, father of the tribe of gods. My mystical gnosis regarding the Spear of Destiny stems from the trident aspect of my Celtic knot tattoo on my heart, And in some myths, the spear of destiny, the spear of Lu, is in fact a trident. I was able to connect Lu with the trident in my own personal experience through a feat of rune magic. This occurred to me living in the woods of the northeast coast of New South Wales. I was at the time practicing the Celtic sacred circle, living in the woods in a stone circle comprised of 4 major stones in the 4 directions, with various other directions and significant aspects of the sacred circle marked or visualized. I had found a natural wooden trident in the forest, and wishing to make a healing wand, I carved 3 runes on the stave. These runes I chose only for their healing quality, but later when I read the resulting rune word phonetically, I realized that I had spelt the name Lu. Suddenly my knowledge of mythology fell into place, and I realized that while in the sacred circle I had manifested the ancient ritual object, the Spear of Destiny, known in prehistory as the Spear of Lu. I then went on to carve and paint a whole series of silver tridents, engraved with the name of Lu in different rune languages. As there are many stone circles around northern New South Wales, I also found fully grown trees, trident-shaped, with the correct southern correspondences at stone circles around the area. South is the direction attributed to Lu, the fairy king who rules the city of the south, named Garius. There, in the living wood, I carved the name of Lu in runes and watched as the initial healing wand grew into a chain of magical tridents in the ancient traditions of the Spear of Destiny. Through this personal mystical revelation, I have come to an understanding of the very power of destiny, the impetus behind such mythical objects as the Grail and the Spear of Destiny. Both the Spear and Grail were created from the Christ. In a way, both are the Christ and therefore an extension of God itself. What gives these objects their power is the will of the Creator. They cannot be imparted to those who are not in the will of the Creator, nor can they be wielded by those who do not believe, who do not do the will of God. As an average man, obviously, I am not the Holy Grail, nor do I possess the Spear of Destiny. But through the initiatory process of my spiritual gnosis, I have gained insight into these deep mysteries. When I share with you the prayer, I am the Holy Grail, it is a positive affirmation and spiritual blessing to realize that you are a sacred being, a vessel filled with the wine of life, a precious jewel to be cherished. In spirit, blessing me with the knowledge of the Spear of Destiny, I was given a sense of the importance of my life, my path, my destiny. All beings can attain enlightenment eventually, and that is a great fate that awaits even the stones on the ground. Through the aeonic cycles of change, even a stone will one day be part of the body of the Buddha.